It's the final episode of Monday Nitro before our next pay-per-view, World War III, and we're starting to see some people who seem rather keen to win our upcoming 60-man 3-ring Battle Royal. Hello and welcome to part 17 of my WCW Total Extreme Wrestling playthrough. I'm Kev and we're kicking Nitro off with the first of those number one contenders matches. We've been having various combinations of Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven and Zack Sabre matches over the last 4 episodes of Nitro. Zack Sabre Jr. is our TV champion at the moment and we need to decide who's going to be facing him at World War III, and the winner of this triple threat match is Pete Dunne, who pins Trent Seven after 9 minutes. And once again we get Nitro off to a strong start. Solid-ish performances from all performers. Pete Dunne with a D, the other two are D minuses, so it looks like the right guy's winning, but still want to start building up these guys so that we can get more than D's, and I think probably just having them fight against each other every week isn't the way to do that. We need to pick someone from higher up the card who they can have a program with and lose to. So I think it's going to be the end of having our British wrestlers all battling each other for the TV title after this pay-per-view, and then we're going to move on to getting all 3 of them realistically, because Trent Seven won't sign a proper contract with us because he runs his other company. So between our 3 young English stars and just get all 3 of them moving up the card, that's the plan. And then we can have them feuding for the US title in a year's time. That'll be swell. But it's Pete Dunne against Zack Sabre Jr. at the pay-per-view, and we move on into our next segment, which is a Carlito's Cabana with broken Matt Hardy. I mean, what more could you want? Carlito is trying to work out what's going on. He has absolutely no idea. Matt's in full-on broken mode, all by himself, because the rest of the Hardys are still off in their various other companies. But one of the mumbly things that Matt comes out with amidst all his nonsense is he is looking to reform some kind of broken universe. He wants people with him. He wants to be able to have his little skits off at the Hardy Ranch with various people. So he's actively trying to recruit, whether it's his previous people from other companies, I'm trying, but they're not available, or whether we find other people to step into their void. If anyone knows a way to see how long wrestlers in other companies are under contract for, that would be handy. If we've only got to wait like a month for Jeff and Rebby to become available, then we'll wait a month. If they're both under contract for the next 2 years, then we'll come up with a new plan. But I don't really want Matt just sort of bumbling around on his own. I want him to be part of something. But we get a B- on the segment because Matt Hardy is a star and Carlito's getting better all the time as well. The angle gets the crowd hotter. And both of these guys are going to be in the 60-man 3-ring Battle Royal at World War III. So there's a little bit of tension between the two of them as well, because they both fancy their chances at picking up a win and securing themselves a world title shot at Starrcade in the pay-per-view following World War III. We've got semi-finals of our women's tag title matches as well, because the women's tag tournament's been going on for a few weeks now. The final is going to be at World War III, and this is the first of the semi-finals. It's Awesome Kong and Viper versus AJ Lee and Santana Garrett. We get decent reaction but subpar wrestling again, but we do pick up the win for Awesome Kong and Viper, with Viper defeating Santana Garrett via pinfall. And it's Kong and AJ Lee who are the stand-up performers. AJ with a D+, Kong with a D. Problem is, they're the older ones as well. And Viper and Santana Garrett, both with E+, but they've been identified by the creative meeting thing as people who could have big futures for us. So Kong and Viper go into the final. We'll find out who they're facing later on in the show. We get a D+ for the segment. We're not worried about these low ratings for the women's matches anymore. We're working towards building them up over time, and I think we're slowly getting there. And the tag titles should help us do exactly that. Why can't we? There you go. Next segment, just a singles match. You know how these things are. We've got a tag title match coming up at the pay-per-view. The Young Bucks versus the Briscoes for the tag titles. So we'll just pick 2 of them, stick them in a singles match. It just keeps the feud going. As it says there, advances our tag title storyline. Nick Jackson gets a D+, Jay Briscoe a C-, and it is Briscoe who picks up the win, and we get a C- overall. So the Briscoes, or one of the Briscoes, with a win over one of the Young Bucks leading into the pay-per-view. And now we've got another angle with Kevin Nash and his women's division, because inexplicably it's his women's division. And we've got our women's champion Courtney Rush and our first finalists in the tag title tournament, Awesome Kong and Viper. And he's just reminding these guys, similar to what he said last week to a bunch of the baby faces in the women's division. He's now just reminding these three, as our three top heels as things stand at the moment, that there is somebody coming. She's coming for them, and she's a former women's champion. Apologies, that might well have been this former women's champion on the phone. Who knows? It wasn't. It was Anna, but that's beside the point. Perhaps we should sign Anna for the women's division. That might work. But yeah, we have a former women's champion arriving in WCW after World War III. And I'm still not going to tell you who she is, but let me know down in the comments who you think she might be and whether you're excited about the impending arrival of a former women's champion. We get an E on the segment because it's Kevin Nash and really a bunch of nobodies, but that's fine. It gives him a little bit of time with Kevin Nash, and that's fine too. And it's another one of we're just going to pick two people who are in the Battle Royal, stick them in a match and see who's ahead at the moment. And it's Moose against Damien Sandow. Sandow wins after 9 minutes by pinfall. Moose with a D-. Sandow with a C. You get a C- on the segment. Damien Sandow has good matches with just about everybody. That's what we're discovering about Damien Sandow. So there might be some kind of title run in his future because he just keeps having good matches with people. And good matches, he's good. And now we've got another DDP yoga session because the last one went down so well. Let's do more DDP yoga and pick a load more angry looking men who obviously don't want to be doing yoga. So we've got DDP leading a yoga session with Shelton Benjamin, Matt Morgan, the Great Khali, Silas Young, Ryback and Wade Barrett. As with all of these backstage skits leading up to World War III, they're all trying to one-up each other. Shelton Benjamin in particular is very keen to constantly be proving that he's better than everybody else, as has been his WCW character so far, really. He's frustrated that he's not a champion. He's constantly trying to prove that he should be, and he's trying to do yoga better than everybody else. And it just goes on for a little while, gets them all a little bit of screen time, reminds us that the likes of Great Khali and Silas Young are in the company for a little while, and also gives Ryback and Wade Barrett something to do that isn't pestering Bobby Lashley. So, bit of screen time for them as well. A C- on the segment is fine. DDP's leaving after a month as well, along with Great Khali and Silas Young and lots of others who we've brought in just for World War III. So, don't worry, we're not going to have regular weekly yoga sessions. Unless we really like the regular weekly yoga sessions. But with a C- on the segment, we're not going to worry about it too much. And now we have the other semi-final of our ladies tag champion tournament thing. And it's Kaylee Ray and Mayu Iwatani versus Angelina Love and Madison Rayne, a.k.a. the Beautiful People. And as if you couldn't guess, it's going to be Kaylee Ray and Mayu Iwatani in the final. It's Iwatani defeating Madison Rayne by submission with a cross-arm breaker. Mayu Iwatani just constantly performs better than anyone else we've got in our women's division. She gets a C-. Kaylee Ray with a D+, and the Beautiful People with E+ each. Kaylee Ray getting better at her gimmick as well, which is good. And now we've got 4 really strong potential candidates for the tag titles at the pay-per-view, and we also get another pay-per-view match out of Iwatani, Kaylee Ray, Viper, these people who were in the big match at the last pay-per-view, with a little bit of star power in the form of Awesome Kong as well. We get a D+ on that segment, and in the next video we're going to finally crown our women's tag team champions. And now we have Matt Hardy having a match. Abyss is someone else who's just in on a month-long contract. And I was looking down the roster thinking, right, who can we have Matt Hardy beat that makes a little bit more sense than just having him up against a jobber like we did last week? Abyss. That makes a little bit of sense. Let's put him against Abyss. Let's remind everybody some of the stuff that was going on between Matt Hardy and the Hardys and whatever that faction in TNA was called that I don't remember the name of. Abyss is part of that, isn't he? Or am I just remembering wrong? But just recalling a little bit of that. And it picks up a win for Matt Hardy against some... I mean, Auto Push tells me Abyss is a main eventer. I don't see it myself, but who am I to argue? And Abyss also sustained a posterior cruciate ligament sprain. I don't know how bad a cruciate ligament sprain is, But a man who's in on a month-long contract and only here for the pay-per-view might have just lost his pay-per-view payday, which is a little bit of a shame for Abyss. At least he got a payday by turning up on Nitro. That's not something that everybody who's been signed for the pay-per-view can say. But Hardy gets a C+, Abyss a D+. We get a C+ for the match. And, yeah, Lita just reminding me that Abyss has had his leg fall off. And now we've got a backstage segment, Bully Ray living up to his name and just beating the snot out of Rey Mysterio backstage, leaves him down and out. These are two more guys who are both going to be in the Battle Royal. There's been tension between them even since before the last pay-per-view. Back when Ray was still our world champion, Bully Ray burst onto the scene and decided he wanted the world title. He's kind of forgotten about that and decided what he really wants now is just to beat Rey Mysterio up every week. So we have them having a backstage fight. It's actually lost heat on our storyline, which is a bit of a surprise, and it's only a C+. And I'm really struggling to get anything out of Bully Ray at the moment. If anyone's got any ideas for what we can do with Bully Ray, I might just go and try and sign Devon, but I think he's under contract with WWE as a road agent, so we'll just keep an eye out. But as a singles guy, I'm not getting anything out of Bully Ray. So let's go and try and sign Devon and Jeff Hardy and have a full-on Hardys-Dudleys feud. That would be a fun thing to have in WCW. MVP versus Mr. Kennedy in the latest in our series of matches leading up to World War III. And it really is confirming that MVP Damien Sandow feud we had a little while ago. Damien Sandow is the man who dragged that into being a good feud, because MVP, we put him up against anybody else and he's just doing Ds. He gets a D+, Mr. Kennedy gets a D+. Neither of them particularly giving me any reason to have them do anything in this pay-per-view, in this Battle Royal. But definitely now we see that Damien Sandow was the MVP of the Damien Sandow MVP feud. Oh, that's just... no one's ever done a line like that before. It's amazing stuff. We get a C- on the match and then move into our main event of the evening, which is Bobby Lashley and Jay Lethal reuniting. They were the team that took on the Nexus at the last pay-per-view, taking on new backstage best buddies Ethan Carter III and Cody Rhodes, our two champions, our world champion and our US champion. So at the pay-per-view, we've got Lashley against EC3 for the world title. Lethal and Rhodes are both going to be in the Battle Royal. But we do get a win. Jay Lethal pinning EC3. I wanted Jay Lethal to pick up the win. I didn't specify who he beat. It's a real surprise that the game has decided it's EC3 who can take that pin. Interesting. Cody Rhodes was off his game but still got a C. Ethan Carter a B-, a C for Lethal and a C+ for Lashley. So fairly good performances all round. Our two big single storylines are advanced as well, and we get a B- on the match, which gives us a C+ for the show. The crowd was disappointed at not getting any matches with their aims. Oops, forgot to do a storyline match. Never mind. Other than that, we did still increase our popularity, so that's the important thing. And now we're ready for our first gimmick pay-per-view, World War III, coming up in our next video. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.